going on, Jerome homies? It's a beautiful Friday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and your Minnesota Vikings have a question mark at quarterback this offseason. Will Kirk Cousins and you down with KOC? Yeah, you know me. Will they run things back in 2024 with Kirko being out of contracto and being a free agento? And Kirk, before he popped his Achilles, was playing at a high level, man. And yes, you could say, 0-3, 1-4 start. Hashtag QB wins, but you literally cannot deny that Kirk Cousins was playing an extremely high level, good football. And also, if you're going to say, 0-3, 1-4, what about 2 wins over the Niners and on the road against the Packers, where he performed fantastic, right? So you can't ignore that. Spot Rack estimates his market value around $40 million, and Kirk has inferred that he could be down for a hometown discount, but of course we know this time of year. Words don't mean much. And Kirk could leave as a free agent since the Vikings cannot franchise tag him because his contract voids before the franchise tag window opens. And also, he is currently out of contract anyway. So it's really a moot point because if he walks, the Vikings get zero goose egg D'Angelo Russell in compensation outside of a 2025 likely third-round comp pick, which we're really looking forward to. But all the talk is around Belichick getting back into the game. The door with the Cowboys seemed a little bit open, but then I think Belichick looked at Dak and was like, no. But apparently he's getting back in the game with the Falcons. Rap sheet, go. Sources, former Patriots coach Bill Belichick will have a second interview with the Falcons brass this weekend. First off, you make Bill Belichick interview. Second of all, you have a second interview. I don't know. Or Belichick, I mean, he's had the same job since 2000, so maybe he likes to be wine-dined and stuff. I don't know, man. Blah, 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 Arthur Blank, blah. Things are ramping up with the greatest coach of all time. So I think he's odds-on favorite to get the Falcons job, so he's going to be Hotlanta. It's great, man. And the Falcons are ready to rock and roll, man. So they have a solid offensive line. They got great pieces around there. Drake London, as well as Kyle Pitts, who Arthur Smith did not use. Same thing with Bijan Robinson, first-round pick last year. So the Falcons have a ton of fun pieces on offense, defensively as well, but the quarterback is the issue. And they do have a top 10 pick. They could select their guy, but also they got Heineke and Desmond Ridder, which ain't going to do it. I mean, Belichick is like, oh, I wasted my time with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi after Brady retired, so I ain't doing that. So it does make sense that Belichick, well, who's 72, he wants to win now and doesn't want to pussyfoot around with a young quarterback. He doesn't want to do that. So does this make sense? Where if Kirk Cousins left in free agency, I think Atlanta makes way more sense than Pittsburgh or anywhere else. And of course, also the familial ties, blah blah blah, his wife, blah blah blah, from Georgia, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But I think bottom line, Atlanta's revved up, ready to go. You look at all those weapons, and I do think that Belichick, you saw what he did with Brady. And is Kirk Cousins Tom Brady? They're pretty close. I mean, combined, Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins have won 7 Super Bowl rings. So what do you want from me? But again, I think that Belichick wants a guy like Kirk Cousins. And, for the last couple of years, Kirk has been tied like, oh, well, what if Kirk is traded to the Patriots after Tom Brady retired? So also the Falcons, they do have the cap space to be able to sign him to a new contract, and also they could adjust the contracts of veterans like Jake Matthews, Grady Jarrett, and maybe even Chris Lindstrom on his extension to be able to make it work financially. And of course, it comes down to this. So this is where all the Kirk Cousins haters are just like, oh, he's leaving. A Purple Persuasion put this out. Quarterback Kirk Cousins playing for head coach Bill Belichick, who is in favor right now for the Falcons job. Quote, I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to play for a future Hall of Fame coach. But then he went on and said, well, we'll see how this thing plays out in March. Now, what's he supposed to say? Now, F Bill Belichick right in the face. I would never play for him. He's a douche. No, he's not going to say that. So, I mean, could this be a little bit of gamesmanship from Kirk? A little bit of a shot across the bow to the Vikings. Like, hey, let's get something worked out. And I mean, worse things have been said in contract negotiations, man. Just pitting the former student against the pupil. Oh no, student against the teacher. You know it is. But again, what is Kirk supposed to say? Is that no? I would never play for Belichick. F you, f that. No. So I don't read too much into it, but logically and logistically, I mean, it could make sense for him to leave. Now, if Kirk leaves, it does hit the reset button on the Vikings at the quarterback position because I do think that the Vikings could have their cake and eat it too, have Kirk back on a 1, maybe 2-year deal, as well as move up in the draft for your quarterback of the future. But that accelerates the timeline. And the Vikings, it would be no secret that the Vikings would be in on quarterback in the draft, and also I would support them moving all the way up for their guy, but it does leave a $28.5 million of void year dead cap hit in 2024. Now, after that, I mean, you're free and clear. But 4 years of void year cap hits do come home to roost. But you could weather that storm since you would have your starting quarterback on his rookie deal. Now, I would be, if Kirk did leave, I'm not really down for bringing in Russell Wilson. I'm not really down for bringing in a veteran bridge quarterback who would start. Well, a bridge quarterback for depth, but not to start, right? But I would support the Vikings potentially moving up into the stratosphere, into the top 3, and going and getting their guy in that situation if Kirk does indeed leave. But I still think that Kirk is a betting favorite to return to the Vikings. I think that he would return for less than you would think. But if Belichick is completely hot and bothered for Kirky in Atlanta, that does change the calculus a little bit. But would Falcons ownership, who spend a lot of money bringing in Belichick, I mean, Belichick's probably going to make $20 million a year, would they sign off on a quarterback in free agency in March who could not pass a physical and is going to be 36 years old? So that's the question there. But it does certainly add a variable to the Vikings quarterback plans and offseason plans this offseason. Also, how does this affect Justin Jefferson? It all comes back to JJ, which it rightfully should. But we'll see, man. Anyways, that's it. Your thoughts are thoughts of Vikings and Belichick? Question mark. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.